In this demonstration, we will be learning about Kubernetes labels and selectors. So to start with, let us go ahead and look at a manifest file. Now, I have a manifest file which is deployment. Now, most of the time we use our labels and selectors in deployments. We don't use it for pods. The common usage for is pods, but selectors are generally used in the deployments. And if you observe it clearly, this is a typical deployment file itself. There's nothing different here. The only different that you need to understand is match labels. Now, match labels actually tell what pods the deployment will apply to. Are you confused? Yes, let's understand more. So let us come with the first metadata. Now metadata is what? Metadata is used to describe the deployment itself. It will actually give a label for the actual deployment. Okay. Now why there is something called selector, match label and another label? Do we really have to use our labels? Yes. So it turns out that the second selector, okay, that you have seen here is actually a selector for the deployment to apply to the pod that the deployment is actually describing. So match labels are not supposed to be service, okay, but only certain resources like deployment. For example, this match label is never applied to a service. It is only applied to a deployment. Now also, if I have to apply, okay, match labels are generally jobs, deployments, replica sets and daemon sets only support the match labels. Now what happens is, as soon as I put a selector match label, I go ahead and run two different match labels, two different sets of match labels, and similarly in the template I will have two different set of labels. Hope that was clear. In case if you got confused, don't worry. While we do it in hands-on, let's go ahead and see how exactly it behaves. Now let me go ahead and first apply the deployment and then see how it behaves. So let me go to my Kubernetes server and let me go ahead and apply. Now before that, let me go ahead and see if I have any deployments. Now you can see I don't have any other deployments. Let's go ahead and see if I have any pods. I don't have any pods. Let's go ahead and apply. Okay, I missed out. Yes, now it's correct. Now let's go ahead and see, do I have any deployments? Yes, I have one deployment. Let's go ahead and see if I have any pods. Now if you see, I have 4 pods and you can see I have 4 replicas in my configuration. That's the reason you have 4 pods. Now let me add one more thing. If I have to see labels, I use a switch like this, show labels, and let me clear it out to make it easy. Now I have a deployment called DMZ app server, okay, and you can see the location is DMZ, pod template hash is this, and run is Nginx, and you can observe it very clearly. Location is DMZ, run equals to Nginx, and you can see here run equals to Nginx, location is DMZ. Run equals to Nginx, location is DMZ. Now what I am doing is to show you the exact difference between match selector and labels. Let me pick up one more deployment. So this deployment name is internal web server, and you can observe it clearly. The run is still Nginx, but the location is internal. Run is still Nginx, the location is internal. Now let me go ahead and apply it. Now kubectl apply -f. Now let me go ahead and show you this. Now if you observe it clearly, this is my DMZ deployment and this is my internal web server. And you observe here clearly, location is DMZ, location is internal, run is Nginx in all the cases. Now this is your labels that we have applied. Now let us do the magic with selectors. Now let me run out one command and explain it to you. I want to get pods. Now I am going to put a selector where run equals to Nginx, and I will also put another selector where location equals to internal, and I want to show all the labels. Now if you observe it clearly, I am able to filter with the help of labels by putting a selector. So this is going to show me all internal with Nginx. Now let me manipulate a command. Now if I go ahead and put selector as run Nginx, now I'm going to get all the 8 pods. Now what if I put only it as internal? The location is internal. Can you guess how many pods I'm going to get? Yes, you're going to get the 4 pods. Okay, there is a duplicate selector. We need to go ahead and remove that. Yes, exactly. Now you got 4 pods. Now one thing that you need to be clear is creating a deployment also creates a replica set object, which is actually monitored by a replication controller, which will actually ensure that the number of pods are running based on the desired number that is given inside your configuration, that is your replicas 4. Now let's go ahead and get the deployments. So I have 2 deployments as we know. Now let us go ahead and see whether do I have any replica sets. Now you can see you should have 2 replica sets because I have added a replicas configuration, so I have replica sets configuration created. Now let me see or show you by manipulating few things. So as we know, let's get pods. Now let me also get all of them. So when I put Nginx and internal, it has only shown me all the 4 because I only have selected very specific. Now let me go ahead and do some filtration and then show you how it actually works. Now let me take internal web server and manipulate. I'm picking up a pod. Observe it very clearly. Okay, I'm going to change the label to not Nginx and I'm overriding it. Now the override is completed. Let me run the same command and you can observe it clearly. Okay, the not Nginx is showing it to me because the selector is internal. That means I have added internal as selector. I can see it. But what if I select this way? Now if you can observe it, only with Nginx you are able to see. Not Nginx you are unable to see. Let me show you all the pods, which will actually make our job easy. Now you can observe that I have 9 pods. But however, as per the configuration that I have given, I have 2 deployments. Each deployment should only have 4. Correct? That means only 8 pods I should have. Now why is it not showing? When I have to show only 8 pods, it's actually showing me 9 pods. So okay, it is showing me 10 lines. You need to remove this line. That's a WC-L is a line, number of lines that is counting. So you're removing this. So it is showing me 9. That means I'm expecting only 8, but it is showing me 9. That is because the selector was different. Because the selector was changed, okay, it has able to create one more. So that this label got changed and a new one got created. So the replication control can only have 4 pods running with the existing matching label selector. After we change the run label configuration, okay, of the pod, then automatically what happened is the pod got remediated and a new pod got created to maintain the replica set 4, and that pod was not following the required given configuration. I hope that was clear. I understand that labels and selectors is a bit a complicated topic and will make you confusing. I would suggest you to go ahead and do as many labs as possible on labels and selectors and do as much as R&D on it. This will make the concepts very clear. That's all for this demo.